I was a man chosen by the Creator to preserve life where there was none. The world was full of corruption and sin, and the earth cried out for redemption. I built an ark, a refuge, to carry those who would survive the coming storm. My name is Noah, and this is my story. I am Noah, the son of Lamech, and the great-grandson of Methuselah. My story, though often spoken of, is not one of glory or triumph, but of obedience to a God who called me to something unimaginable. And I know, perhaps more than anyone, that the ways of the Lord are beyond our understanding. I lived in a time when the world was full of corruption, the earth was filled with violence, and man had turned away from the Creator. It grieved the Lord. His heart was filled with pain, and so he decided that he would bring an end to all life, for the wickedness of mankind had reached its peak. But I, Noah, found favor in his eyes. Why me? I often asked. I was but a man like any other, living in a broken world. But I walked with God, and he saw my righteousness. One day God spoke to me in a way I had never known.
Noah, my faithful servant, the earth has become corrupt, filled with violence and sin. But you have found favor in my eyes. I will bring forth a great flood to cleanse the world, yet I shall preserve life through you. Build an ark of gopher wood, vast and strong. Gather your family and bring 2 of every living creature, male and female, so they may be saved. Do not fear, for I am with you. My covenant will endure, and through you the earth shall be renewed.
Lord, I will obey. Guide me as I do your will. He told me to build an ark, an enormous ship, far beyond anything I had ever imagined. He gave me exact instructions down to the last detail. It was not a task for the faint of heart. The dimensions were vast and the work was long. God told me that he would send a great flood to destroy all life from the face of the earth, but he would preserve me, my family, and pairs of every living creature. And so I began. People mocked me, you know. They laughed at my work, for there had never been a flood and there was no sea nearby. The world had never seen such rain. I was a fool in their eyes, a man building a massive vessel in a dry land, far from the nearest river. They had no understanding, and I had no answer for them but this. I was doing what God had commanded. I don't know how many years it took. Some say it was 120 years. But I worked tirelessly, day after day. My sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, helped me. We built it, slowly but surely, just as God had told me. We faced ridicule, we faced doubt, but we kept on. For there was no other way. The day came when the ark was finished, and it was time for us to enter. God told me to bring the animals, 2 of every kind, male and female. The creatures came, as if drawn by some unseen hand, and they entered the ark just as God had said. I've always marveled at that moment, seeing the majestic creatures, large and small, marching toward the ark in perfect order, as if the Lord himself had orchestrated every step. Then the doors were shut, and I stood with my family, waiting. And the sky grew dark, the earth shook, the waters, as God had promised, began to rise. The heavens opened, and rain poured down in torrents as never before. The fountains of the deep were unleashed, and the waters surged up, higher and higher, until the mountains themselves were covered. All life outside the ark perished, swept away by the flood. For 40 days and 40 nights the rain fell, the ark floated on the waters, and we could only wait, knowing that we were preserved by the hand of God. There were times when it seemed endless. The world had been wiped clean, and only we, with the animals, remained. And the waters began to recede. I sent out a raven, but it did not return. Then I sent a dove. It came back, its beak carrying a freshly plucked olive leaf, a sign that the earth was being restored. I sent out the dove again, and this time it did not return. It was time. We emerged from the ark, stepping onto the earth that had been made new. The land was wet, the sky was clear, and a rainbow appeared, a beautiful and vivid sign from God. The Lord said, This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. God had saved us, and he promised never again to destroy the earth with a flood. It was a new beginning, though not without its challenges. I built an altar and made sacrifices to the Lord, offering him thanks for his mercy. And God blessed me, saying, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth." But I must confess, even after all that had happened, I was not without fault. I became drunk on wine one day, and I uncovered myself in my tent. My son Ham saw me in my shame, and his actions brought a curse upon his descendants. I cannot escape the reality of my own imperfections. Yet, despite everything, the Lord remained faithful. He preserved us through the storm, and he continues to be a God of mercy and grace. I am Noah, a man who obeyed the call of God, even when it seemed foolish. I have seen the wrath of God and the mercy of God, and I have witnessed his faithfulness through it all. My story is not just about the flood, but about the promise of hope that follows the storm. And that, I believe, is the true legacy of my life.